or not, there is a moment meant for us. And now you made it, but I already played this. Not interested, open your eyes, let's get it done. Take my hand, just follow me. Shadowing me, I won. Oh, the sky is on fire. The lake has turned to a golden sun. Oh, I'll never get tired. I just wanna dance, just wanna. Oh, I'll never get tired. I just wanna dance, I just wanna dance. Despite the loss, I'm over here, gotta get across. Whether you like it or not, there is a moment meant for us. And now you made it, but I already played this. Not interested, open your eyes, let's get it done. Take my hand, just follow me. Shadowing me, I won. Oh, the sky is on fire. The lake has turned to a golden sun. Oh, I'll never get tired. I just wanna dance, just wanna.
Good morning, everybody. Hey, it's another Friday, another Advantage Live show. Thank you guys, as always, for tuning in for another Advantage Live show. I really do appreciate it. If you're new here, this is the part of the show where we just hang out for just a little bit, give everybody some time to kind of settle in. I will say, though, please let me know you're watching. Say hi, say where you're from, and so forth. Let us know that you're here. Love to engage with you guys watching. That's what makes live so much fun. It's really about connecting with the audience. It's better type of content when we have engagement because, you know, you can go onto YouTube and Facebook and watch all the videos in the world. The cool thing about video is that we get to engage with one another. So I love that. It's a way to kind of reach out and communicate, which is what this particular show is about, is communication. So, but yeah, let us know you're here. Put it in the comments. Hi, hello, and all that. If it's your first time here, please put new in the comments so we can welcome you to the show. If you have a question during the whole show, please type in question or capital Q before your question so we know it's an actual question and we'll know to bring that up into the show. And also, if you're watching this on the replay, and in other words, you are not watching it live right now where you can engage with me, then please put in the comments hashtag team replay. It's always cool to see who's watching this after the show. So awesome. We got some people saying good morning and happy Friday. That's awesome. Who we got there? We got Terry Woodward. Good morning, Terry. So good to see you. Ann Reynolds, happy Friday, and happy Friday to you as well. Brenda, hello. Good morning. Thank you so much for checking out the show. Brenda, appreciate it. Bill Muse, hello. How are you, buddy? And new, awesome, Brenda. I thought you might be new. I'm glad you tuned in. Welcome to the show. Hope you find something of value for yourself. So here's somebody I know, my mom. Thank you so much for being here. Good morning. Yep, Miss Sheila Fields, the wonderful, magnificent Miss Sheila, one of our administrators in our London office. She is amazing. Sheila, thank you so much for tuning in. And then my dad is also watching. That's always good. It got the family represented. You are most welcome, Brenda. Thank you. I really do appreciate it. So thank you guys so much. And hey, on the countdown timer, you kind of saw the ticker kind of go along the bottom. So before we get into the show, I'm going to talk a little bit about the real estate market. We are finding ourselves in just, to be honest, one of the craziest times in real estate. I mean, I said that when I first got into real estate back in 2005, 2006, and absolutely was a crazy time then. But we're seeing even, to be honest, a little bit of a more crazy time, and more in probably the uncertainty way versus the fear way. Back then, there's a lot of uncertainty that led into fear. Now we're just seeing just a lot of shifting and pivoting going on, and just a lot of things that are moving. And it's just a very interesting market to kind of keep our tabs on. And as real estate agents, to be honest, that is one of our crucial tasks that we need to be doing. So before we get into the show, let's talk about that a little bit. Though that ticker had a few little things going on in there that I think is relevant, not only for real estate agents, but the community at large, because there's a lot of information about where you are trying to make a decision on if you buy or sell right now and so forth. So here's some information for you. The very first thing that came up was pending home sales. Pending home sales rebound 8% in August from July. So contract signings rose 8% in August from the prior month after 2 consecutive monthly declines. I'll mention this. In a press release, NAR chief economist Lawrence Yun noted that transactions for the month of August greatly increased as inventory continues to very slowly improve. There is still a housing shortage, but the increase in contract activity is a testament to the persisting high housing demand. So we're seeing a point where we're looking at the inflation of homes had went so fast, so high, so quick that people were trying to catch up and rushing to buy. Then we're seeing a leveling off of the inflation, which is bringing the cost to build and everything back down to a reasonable amount. So you're seeing that kind of leveling off, and you're seeing an uptick in new contract signings because of those things. So that is good. In all reality, that is actually a very good thing. Pending listings outpace active listings. Pending listings outpace active listings. In other words, we have more, on average, more homes in pending than we currently have active. All right. So the 4-week rolling active listings rose 0.9% from the prior 4-week estimate. The 4-week rolling pending listings also rose 1.2% from the prior week, indicating that demand, pending listings, continues to outpace supply active listings. Here's another one for you. Home sales prices rise at a slower pace. I mentioned that just previously a little bit about inflation, but this is what's happening. Prices are rising at a slower pace as supply continues to improve and as demand softens. The median existing home sales price based on sales rose at a pace of 12.7% from 1 year ago. A slower pace compared to 20% in the week of June 13th. 20% increase over and over. I mean, it's amazing what's happening in this market. So that was a crazy amount of inflation that was going on, and prices were just going high. But what we're seeing now is, and just like you would expect, is the inflation has caught up to the price that the buyer is willing to pay for the home. So, and I read an article too just recently that the average mortgage payment is up about $167 a month on payments. So we've hit a point where the income of the individual versus the cost that they're willing to pay has outpaced the other. So that means that buyer is saying, look, it's a little more than I want to spend at this point, and it's a little bit more than I can afford to pay at this point. So we're seeing that leveling off. So what that is honestly a good thing. Interest rates are still low, which is my very next point. 30-year fixed rate mortgage rate still at or below 3%. The 30-year fixed mortgage rate slightly rose to 2.88% as the 10-year T-note also slightly rose to 1.37%. 1 year ago, the 30-year fixed mortgage rate was 2.89%. Again, the chief economist for NAR, Lawrence Yun, expects the 30-year fixed mortgage rate to increase to 3.6% by 2022 as the Federal Reserve Board reduces its purchases of mortgage-backed securities and increases the federal funds rate to keep inflation to the average target of 2%. They're trying to control the market a little bit with the interest rate. So by going up, they reduce the inflation and they try to get it down to more of a reasonable inflation of a 2% gain. So it's a good leveling off, and that will help builders to enter into the market and also help the market to catch up with the demand. and that'll also help the prices. Full disclaimer, though, all these numbers are provided by the National Association of Realtors and Dr. Lawrence Yun, the chief economist for NAR and his team. So that's where these reports are coming from. So it is really, really good to see what is going on. These are actually pretty, good reports. And I will add, Dr. Lawrence Young has actually predicted that the market is going to basically kind of level off, but we're not looking at a crash necessarily in the next 3 to 4 years. Now, of course, it's speculative at best, but as far as what he is seeing, that's what he's predicting. So I think it's all good. So awesome. Who else we got here in the comments before I get the actual show started? So we got Deb. Deb, good morning, Deb. Always good to see you. Thank you, as always, for tuning in. You are most welcome. Great info to know. Yes, use it, guys. Use it. Because we're being asked constantly what the market is like, and it's shifting by the week. So I'm going to continue to bring these little quick updates to you guys every Friday, just because it's changing week to week. It's really crazy how much it is. So awesome. So today it's going to be a fun show. As you can tell, I don't have any guests or anything. It's just me talking. So I want engagement. If you guys have something to say as I'm delivering what I'm talking about today, please feel free to bring it in. I love the engagement and talking back and forth. That's what makes this format so much fun. And I'm basically just talking about a couple things. I'm going to be talking about one of the brilliant basics of being a real estate agent. But to be honest, it doesn't matter if you're an agent. This is business in general. And the statement is this: I consciously communicate. I consciously communicate. And the other thing I'm going to be sharing is 10 tips every real estate agent needs to know. These are not my personal tips. They are great tips, but these are all gathered from top producing agents inside of the Century 21 network. And this is what they've recommended. I sat on a panel with them. I asked them these questions, and this is what they said. These are some of the things that they value the most and the things that they would never compromise on. So I'll share that at the end of the show as well. All right. There you go. That's the beginning of the show. This is the Hangout. We are actually officially, once I get my notes lined back up, we are starting the official show right now. Welcome to the Advantage Live show. My name is Adam Gullett. I am the Director of Growth with Century 21 Advantage Realty in the beautiful state of Kentucky. And you are watching the Advantage Live show. So we air this live every Friday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern time. And the goal of this show is to provide something of value back to you for your business and real estate and so forth. If you're a real estate agent, a consumer, a business, there is going to be something of value here, I hope, for you. That is the purpose of this show. Today, I'm going to be going over a couple things in this show. The first one is going to be the brilliant basics of being a real estate agent or business owner. And it's I consciously communicate. I consciously communicate. And then I'm going to transition into the top 10 tips that every real estate agent needs to know. So that's the two segments today. Thank you all, as always, for being here and watching this video. If this is your first time here and you're finding some kind of value, please consider subscribing, liking, and commenting on this video. I got to do what the YouTube always asks us to do, and we make those statements to grow the channel. So I do appreciate you guys for being here, and please consider doing that if you're getting some kind of value out of this show. All right, we are going to move straight on to the very first segment, and this is the Advantage topic. Brilliant basic, I consciously communicate. All right, welcome to the Advantage topic of the Advantage Live show. So today I'm talking about brilliant basic, I consciously communicate. All right, here's the thing. As technology gets complicated and we get more and more ways to communicate with one another, we actually tend to communicate less. And now it requires a conscious effort to make sure that we are communicating with those around us. So this is a brilliant basic, because as things get more complicated, we tend to forget the basics that got us and where we are and how we gain success to begin with. So that is why I'm doing these segments called the Brilliant Basics right now. And this one is I consciously communicate. Last week, I covered the statement number one, which was, let's see, what was that one? That was, I'm transparent and I build trust. I'm transparent and I build trust. That's another good basic, right? I'm transparent. In other words, I'm there to help. I'm not hiding stuff. I'm giving you the information you need. Therefore, I can build trust with you. Today we're talking about I consciously communicate. So here's the statement about I consciously communicate. The statement says this: I am always accessible. I reply quickly and communicate often. I follow the client's communication preference, i.e., return calls with calls, text with text, email with email. I keep my communications clear, concise, and effective. I am proactive and stay in touch along every point in their journey, from initial interest to closing and beyond. All right, here's the question for you guys. Leave this in the comments. Answer this question. What do you believe are the traits of a good communicator? What does a good communicator show on a daily basis? What kind of traits do they have? Answer that question. I'm going to go on to the content here, but leave that in the comments for me. All right, 3 ways of effective communication. Here's 3 ways that you can be an effective communicator. Number 1 is ask rich questions. Open-ended versus close-ended. We have always talked about this, right? We talk about open-ended questions versus close-ended questions. And why is this such a significant point? Because one doesn't give you much information. The other one gives you all the information you need to be able to provide the service that you need, to give the value back that you need to the client that you're serving, right? So close-ended questions are like this. They're yes and no, right? It's questions that are traditionally that are in sales to try to close a deal. And it's just a simple yes and no question. It's like, are you ready to submit an offer on 123 Main Street? This is either a yes or no question. They can either answer yes or no on that. You don't really find out anything else about the person. You don't even get to know the person in the situation that they're in. It's just a pushy sales dialogue that says, are you ready? Right? So open-ended questions, they typically begin with who, what, when, where, and how. Okay. So be sure when you're tailoring a communication that your conversation and the things that you're asking begin with that who, what, when, where, and how. Those are open-ended questions. Those are going to help you as the professional to find out the details of where the person is. A couple of things too to keep in mind when you're asking these type of questions though, because people have different responses for many different situations and they come from many different places. So to understand where they are is crucial. So here's another tip. Set any judgment aside. Anything that you assume that the person is wanting to do, put it aside. Don't listen to that at all. Don't worry about the judgment. Just let them talk and take it as at face value. Resist, and this is a tough one. I struggle with this, to be honest, is resist providing the answer. Resist when they answer the question, resist immediately answering the question. Right? Just hold back a little bit more. Be respectful of that. But be curious. So in other words, pry more. Give them, kind of ask a little bit more of the open-ended question to pull out more information. So ask multiple questions around that same kind of question, which will strengthen your basic understanding about where that person is. Consider what-if questions. For example, what if we provided a home warranty? Would that relieve your client's concerns, right? Think about something that they might be objective to that might actually provide them back with some value. What if you submitted an offer? What if you didn't submit an offer? What if you didn't submit the offer and someone else came and bought the home out from underneath you? Would you be okay with that? Right? That's an open-ended question. They can answer, well, yeah, I don't know. Well, if it's a home you're really kind of looking for, what if this was the home you chose to buy? What if this is the home that you chose to move your family in? How would that look to you and your family if you moved in? And if those questions make sense, then why not make an offer? Right? Those are all open-ended questions that actually lead down the road to help and understand the client and also where they are currently at. All right, number 2, wait for the person to finish, then clarify and summarize. Step 1 is basically just whenever they get done talking, whenever they finally finish up, repeat the information that you have heard back to them. Use any key kind of phrases or anything in the conversation, not every word, but just whatever it was that kind of stood out to you, ask them that back. Then ask for an agreement of the conversation. Like, where do we agree on? Okay, well, that makes sense. Okay, yes, I understand where you're coming from on that. Agree with them with the information. And even if what they're saying at the first is not even correct, agree with them anyway. And then work through that process, because the goal is to build that trust with the client, meeting them where they are and understanding what their needs really are. And that is crucial to sales. So suggested phrases are like this: to be completely certain we are in agreement, or let me make sure I'm clear about this, or to be completely certain. So what you are basically saying is, see where I'm going with this? If I heard you correctly, you are saying this. Those are all great ways to figure out exactly where that person's coming from. And in the end, you're actually building a much stronger relationship and not just trying to close the deal. You don't look like a pushy salesperson. You're coming across somebody that actually genuinely cares about them. Because if anyone's been in this industry long enough, or any industry for that matter, it's a referral-based business. I don't care if you're retail, real estate, insurance, bank, I don't care. You want people to refer others to you, and you want them to come back to you. And that comes through relationship and them realizing that you have their best interest at mind and not just trying to make a dollar. These type of questions lead that down that road of respect. All right, here's another question for you. Well, let's go see if we got any questions here. Terry Woodward said, organized. Yes. Brenda, thank you. Good listener. Open-ended questions. Be present in the moment. Repeat back what you heard to be clear on the point. She said all this before I even got to that point, I will add. Brenda, well said. That is absolutely true. Confident and concise. Donna, great point. We are called to be professionals. We are called to be confident with the information that we are providing. Confidence comes from competence, knowledge of the information and the knowledge of our industry to be able to deliver the correct information to the client. And concise. That is a very great point, Donna. Concise, because we can elaborate, which is my next point, actually, Donna. Thank you so much. That was a great point. So here's another question for you guys to ask in the comments too. Here you go. What do you want your clients to say about your communication? Okay, self-reflection just a little bit. Think back to some of your conversations you've had with previous clients and what you said, and then put yourself in their shoes and be able to perceive how that question made you feel. What did that make you think? How did that make you want to respond? So what do you want your clients to say about your communication? What are some of the things you want them to say? All right, so here's the next point. Have purposeful, succinct conversations. Succinct conversations. Leave out filler words, okay? Well, kinda, maybe, sort of, or just. Okay, those are a lot of just filler words that just almost actually go back to even Donna's point too about being confident. Actually erode some of the confidence because they're basically not delivering anything of value. They're just filling time, and it almost looks like you're trying to struggle to get the answer. So shorten your sentences. Don't ramble. Focus on the facts, acknowledge where they are, and then begin to converse with them on those points. And don't ramble. Once you get to the point and you've answered the question, let's move on. Okay? Because we all have a tendency to over communicate sometimes. And I've told a story about this once before. This was years ago when I first got into real estate. And we roll up, that is listed by another agent. His property was listed by another agent. I bring my buyers. We pull up into the property. We get out of the car, and the listing agent is there. They're walking down the driveway. They look at my buyers. We all had the pleasantry greetings and everything. My buyer makes a statement and says, hey, I didn't know there was a above ground pool back there. Before there was any other conversation, the listing agent immediately said, oh, yes, I know. But you know what? The seller said, if you don't like that pool, you can actually have it removed. And they went on this whole tangent about what could be done with that pool. And then my buyer just kind of looked at me and said, actually, I think a pool's nice. I think I would like to have a pool. Did it kill the deal? I don't think so. But what ended up happening is because that other agent quickly inserted what they assumed the buyer saw as an objection to the property, to defend the property, actually, the buyer was perceiving it as a benefit. So what a way to almost kill a deal without realizing the information. So if they had open-ended questions, they got to know the client better, and they understood where the buyer was coming from, that conversation could have been completely different. That was a lesson that I learned, and I've never forgotten that one. I left that showing thinking about that. Man, I could be easily guilty of that. And I'm sure I have been, to be honest. I'm guarantee it. Donna said something else too. Knowledgeable and respectful. Yeah, knowledge and respectfully. Yes, that's exactly right. That's what she would like others to say about her, right? Knowledgeable and respectful. That's good. That's good. Yeah, anyone else on that one? What do you want your clients to say about your communication? It's good. Here's some quotes. I always like to wrap up talks like this with quotes that, to be honest, from way smarter people than myself, and just what they say about this. And this is all in regards to communication. So this is Charlie Kaufman said this: constantly talking, does that sound like Kentucky? Constantly talking isn't necessarily communicating. I love it. Constantly talking isn't necessarily communicating. When people talk, listen completely. Most people never listen. Ernest Hemingway said that. Aaron Goldman says this: communicate unto the other person that which you would want him to communicate unto you if your positions were reversed. I love it because we tend to not put ourselves in other people's shoes. We tend to assume more about the other person than realizing where they come from. I think that's a great reminder. Communicate unto the other person that which you would want him to communicate unto you if your positions were reversed. All right. John Powell said this: communication works for those who work at it. So true. It's not just something we just are naturally good at. Some people are naturally good at communication, but they still need to work on it. Chances are they probably did, but there are some that are better than others. But consciously working on communication is a great practice because communication is all about relationship. Christopher Morley said this: there's only one rule for being a good talker. Learn to listen. I love it. I love it. Those are great quotes that just completely encompass exactly what we're talking about, right? We're trying to build relationships. Donna, yes, Donna, talking the client out of the transaction just due to the fear of silence. Very, very good point. We have got to learn to appreciate silence. Silence is not a bad thing. Sometimes it's necessary to let the person think, process, and come to their conclusion. And that comes with experience. That is a really good point, Donna. Thank you. Donna's on it, guys. I need to bring Donna into the show. Donna, you're gonna do this next segment with me. So awesome. So let's see. Next question for you guys. If there's one piece of advice you could give someone to help them get better at communication, what would it be? All right. This is an opportunity to provide some value back to some people watching. What is some of the advice that you would give to someone that wants to get better at communicating? Any good communicators out there? Share your advice. What is something that you would do to be able to share to help someone else get better at communication? I love sharing and giving back. That's what it's all about. So feel free to share that in the comments and we will get to those towards the end, guys. That is the brilliant basic. I consciously communicate. I hope you get something of value out of that. I know I did. I find it very fascinating as I'm researching this and trying to figure out what is a great topic that I see myself or others struggling. I find that I am growing. I'm challenging myself. This is not me sitting here saying I have it all figured out. It's me learning right alongside you guys. And I just love it. I love it, love it, love it. All right, guys, we're going to do a new segment now. This is Coach's Corner. This is the tips that I have gathered from some of the top producing agents inside of Century 21. And what they say are the 10, or at least I've concluded it down to the 10 tips every real estate agent needs to know or do. So I hope you enjoy it. All right, so welcome to the Coach's Corner. So in the Coach's Corner, I'm going to be sharing today 10 tips every real estate agent needs to know or do, right? So there's certain things that we might neglect or forget to do and so forth. So today I'm just going to kind of concisely bring it in together from some top selling agents inside of the Century 21 network. These are some of the things that they have said that they would absolutely recommend every agent do and be aware of. And it doesn't matter if you're a veteran in the industry or just starting out, there is always, I'm telling you, always something new to learn. I tell you, this industry, we talked about it, it's constantly changing. Things are adapting, moving forward at a rapid pace. Technology, the way clients communicate, all those type of things are constantly going on. So being sure that we're in line and doing what we should be doing, and just even in the basics, is key to seeing success long term, right? So here are the 10 tips that I have gathered that I'm going to share with you guys. Number one, understand the importance of your online presence. I mean, it's so true, right? I mean, think about this. We almost think that when we post something on social media, no one else can see it. It amazes me sometimes how much I see people post that they treat Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever, as a public or a private journal. They will air their thoughts about what their opinions are and their thoughts are. And sure, you can do that. But you got to think on the professional side. And what is your presence? What should your presence be as a professional, as a real estate agent? Look and do a social media audit. Go through your accounts and see what you've done and clean it up. Be professional, right? We want to be the help to the community. We don't want to hurt the community. We want to be able to address issues, sure, but we want to be able to do it in a respectful, polite manner. And if you can, you need to audit your social media. So I think that was a great advice. Great advice. Understand the importance of your online presence. Number two, build a strong network with other agents in your area. All right. I understand that you might have had a deal with one agent and it went bad. You got frustrated with the other agent, what have you. Okay. That happens in all transactions. We have to understand too that we're all representing our clients. So we got to take that emotion and that judgmental out of the picture and realize that we do not want to burn bridges with other realtors. We want to build them. We want to communicate through issues that we have. We want to build strong networking, referral type business with other agents. It's a great practice. Even if the other agent has done something wrong, we maintain a professional behavior even inside of that transaction, outside the transaction, and we can constantly work towards bringing unity back, even in the most difficult situations where we're not getting along. And then doing things to reach out to the community that you find yourself in. Go to luncheons, be engaged with the local board, be engaged with luncheons and events and meetings and all of those type of things that connect you with more people in the community outside of even your own company, but also inside of your own company. Get to know the agents inside of your company. You are a team. Yes, we're all individual. And I spoke on this last week. Yes, we're all individuals. Yes, we are, independent contractors all working for our clients. But think about the power of the relationship between yourselves that can provide a stability for you to operate and to service your clients better. Think about how much that right there benefits your business to build a strong network with other agents in your area. Number three, be honest and trustworthy to clients at all times. Now, that seems like, duh. I get it. It really, really does. But I will say integrity and honesty is challenged in the most subtle ways. Sometimes you'll feel like if I tell them the truth, it's going to hurt them. Or if I tell them the truth, it could ruin the deal. We are all tempted with that type of thought. But to be honest, we don't get to make that decision. We have to trust that the client is smart, knowledgeable, and understands. And then we got to trust ourselves into being able to deliver the information that they need to hear, regardless of what we think might happen. So when you are tested to give information that might be a little bit challenging to deliver, you still got to be honest, trustworthy at all times. Number four, make sure you have the proper insurance coverage before closing on any deals. Now, this comes from a particular agent in a state kind of close to ours. It was Ohio, I believe. I think Ohio, Indiana. But basically what happened was this particular agent, top selling agent, average selling price of $900,000, had a E&O insurance, errors and emissions insurance, for only $500,000. So got into some legal issues, obviously not enough insurance, and then got into major trouble. We need to have due diligence to make sure that we have enough insurance to cover the actions that we are doing. We are all guilty of making mistakes. Human errors happen intentionally or unintentionally. We can get into a mess and not even realize we're in it before it's too late. And not have enough insurance, this is a great advice. So if you're only at the basic E&O insurance, or your state has a certain limit to how much they offer, you need to make sure that that works and that is enough for your business. Talk to your broker, talk to legal counsel, find out if you've got enough insurance for the activities that you are performing. I know here at Central 21 Advantage Realty, we have state coverage and we have an additional rider that we do we cost share it across the entire company, which makes it extremely affordable. And it adds a whole lot more protection to our agents, and it protects us all from that very thing from happening. So make sure you have enough insurance. Number 5, always be professional, even when dealing with difficult clients. We are the professionals, okay? We have to maintain that position. We can't cave to the emotional side of it. We can't go on rants. We can't go on ramblings. We have to be the professional in every situation. Even when the emotions that client is portraying are warranted. Sometimes they are. Sometimes that frustration is fine. That is absolutely okay. They're going to have that because we got to remember they're going through something they hardly ever do. It's the most expensive thing they usually purchase, and they hardly ever do this, right? So they're relying on us, and they want stability. They don't want somebody else just in their corner just saying, yeah, you're right, and getting all upset as well, and creating problems across the aisle. And they want somebody that's stable, that can listen, agree, acknowledge, show empathy, but then also be the person with knowledge and advice and can help them direct and navigate this difficult situation. So always be professional, even when dealing with the difficult clients. You're going to have difficult clients. If you're new, you haven't maybe not had them yet, or maybe you have. But if you've been in this industry long enough, there are plenty of difficult clients out there. But there's a lot of emotion going on their side too. We do this all the time. We're so used to it. We downgrade the stress of it because we're so used to the whole process. We understand it all. We got to realize they don't. They don't understand it. So what could be deemed as a difficult client is actually just a lack of knowledge. Be the knowledge for them. Help them navigate that water. Number 6, keep up to date on market trends and stats for your area so that you can give better advice to buyers and sellers alike. I can't stress this enough. If you want to be a value back, and you don't want the world and the technology companies trying to enter in to say that you're not relevant, if you don't want that to happen, then this is what you do. You get out there and you learn everything you can about this market. You understand what's going on. You begin to understand these metrics. Yes, they are boring. Everything I talked about is absolutely can be considered boring. It's numbers and stats and all this kind of stuff can be confusing. But the more you read it, the more you understand it. The more you understand it, the better, more knowledge you get about it. Therefore, you can relay it back to the consumer. That's the process. We need to be equipped with this information, especially now more than ever. We have got to realize that we are the professionals, and the information that we are delivering will ultimately provide the stability to the client that they are looking for. Be knowledgeable, stay up to date. What is going on with the interest rate? What's going on with the supply and demand? What's going on with inflation? What's going on? How many days on the market? What's the average selling price? All of those information, all of those things are relevant to your business, right? Be aware of them. Do everything you can to learn about them. And if you don't know how to read those numbers, ask me. I call me a geek. I love those type of things. Reach out to me. I would love to help you explain to all those numbers and how they all work. Would love it. Number 7, develop relationships with other professionals in related fields. So we talked about building relationships with the ones in our field. Now we're talking about outside of our field. Mortgage lenders, lawyers, inspectors, so forth, right? A true professional doesn't always have the answer. They know how to get it. That's what this is about. You need to develop these relationships. You need to have a recommended list. You need to have recommended people, multiples of each category, not just one, right? That's not good diligence there, but have people in your corner that you know you can trust, that you can reach out to advice, that can teach you and you can teach them. Go out to coffee, get lunch, whatever it is, and build these relationships. This is true professional behaviors right here. We need to have these people in our database that we can call up and throw ideas off of and converse and refer back and forth to, right? These are crucial to building a business. To me, there are certain people you've got to have, for your business. A CPA, an attorney. These are people that need to be, that you can call up on the phone and get answers, because trust me, your clients are looking at you to help them navigate a lot of these categories. So build that up. Great advice. Number 8, be a good listener. Ask lots of questions. I consciously communicate, right? Brilliant basic. Be a good listener and ask lots of questions. Don't be so urgent. Don't rush into just answering questions quickly. Listen and then ask questions, agree, and then answer. All right. Don't be afraid to approach anyone about buying or selling their home. This seems like, well, yeah, that's not, yeah, of course. But think about this. Most people don't do it. Most agents will not ask that question. They will not approach a buyer or seller about buying or selling their home. They'll go out to eat. They'll have a conversation with the waitress. They won't have that conversation. So this is advice from top selling agents. Like, guys, don't be afraid to ask. Approach people, ask them, door knock, whatever it takes. Ask. Number 10, this one is one of my personal favorites, because it keeps you relevant. Constantly have an attitude of a student. Learn everything you can and never believe you have arrived. Now, mind you, this is coming from top producing agents. This particular one is coming from one of the top 25 out of the 150,000 plus agents inside of the Century 21 franchise. So if somebody at that level makes this statement, constantly have an attitude of a student, learn everything you can and never believe you have arrived, I think we should listen. To stay relevant in this industry requires us to be students. I understand that right now you guys are taking an hour, maybe not as long, maybe not an hour, but some time out of your schedule to come here and listen to this. Hopefully, the burden's on me to make sure that I'm delivering something of value back to you. And I hope I am, but at least you are making the effort. You're making the effort to come here and learn something. And if we practice that every single day, if we took an hour out of our time or 30 minutes out of our time and learned something new every day, we're moving forward. We're staying relevant in our industry. So I encourage you guys, don't be afraid of learning. Don't ever think you've arrived. Seek all the knowledge you can. Go out there and do everything you can. So, I hope you have found some value in this. That's the whole goal of this. And if you have, the best way you can show me that you have is subscribe, comment, and like. That's the only way I can gauge if you have. But, please seek education. Awesome. So, guys, that wraps up this show. But before I do, let's look at this questions here. Let's see what we got. Do we do this one? Talking the client out of the transaction. Okay, yep, we did that one. Steve, yes, listen more than talk. Really listen. Yeah, I like emphasizing the really listen part. We tend to, going back to what we were just talking about, we tend to just want to answer and to move the progress along. But yes, listen more than talk. Really listen. Good. Ann Reynolds, always return calls. Absolutely. Always return the calls. Or if they respond in a different way, some people text, some people email. No matter what, return that communication with the same type of communication. Question. Okay. Yeah. With the rise in prices of the home, how does this not box out the buyer? Meaning, for example, last year qualified for house listed at 170K is now listed at 270K because of the inflation. Doesn't that box out the buyer? Well, it's a good point. Because and what you're looking at is the economy, the economy of scale of employment and income now is not there to the price of the home. So yes, it does box the buyer out. And that's why the inflation is going to start lowering back down or settling into some kind of norm. So the game can kind of catch up a little bit. Either this goes up or this then kind of comes back down and you meet where it's a more level field. But yes, no, that's a good observation, Brenda. Absolutely. So now that's what we're looking at. We're looking at that needs to kind of level off a little bit. At some point, this inflation has to slow down. Otherwise you're heading towards a big bust. I mean, you got to level off the market. So yeah, great question. Great question. Donna, empathy is what others will naturally be drawn back to. Yeah, you're right. Empathy is exactly what they're going to be drawn back to. Well said. Deanna Tyler, 100% agree, Adam. It's huge to have relationships with other agents. Yes, don't neglect that. Yeah, we're all competitors. Yes, we're all competing for the same type of slice of the pie and everything. Yeah, absolutely. But those relationships are crucial. Build them, cultivate them, reach out to people, go out and have coffee and grow this community, because that's one thing I love about this industry is, yeah, we're all competitors, but at the end of the day, we are all trying to do the exact same thing. Service a client the best that we can, not compromise, and service them truly and provide them a value back, and then work together to help the homeownership become possible for more. And that's the benefit of being a real estate agent. That's what we're about, right? And being a realtor is even a step above that, right? The code of ethics that we have to adhere to. When we become a realtor and we join the association, we are promising to abide by these code of ethics. And I challenge you guys, read those code of ethics, study those code of ethics, be aware of what those are, because it will elevate your professionalism to where it needs to be. Be aware of them. And to be honest too, take a practice and read that every other month or so. Go through them and read them. The preamble to the National Association of Realtors, the preamble that they have, read it. It's an amazing preamble to what being a realtor is about. And it's a great statement to what we try to do. Yeah, are we perfect? Well, by no means, no. Who is? But we're striving together to be that way. And that's cool. That's a cool factor about this. So awesome, guys. Thank you all so much for tuning in and participating. I love it. So I love all the communication and the questions and the statements. I love that. I really do appreciate you guys for coming here and watching this, taking time out of your busy day to be here. I can't say how much I really am thankful for that. So next week, I'm going to be going over another brilliant basic, number 3, and it's called I Changed the Game with My Knowledge. I changed the game with my knowledge. And the statement reads like this: I am the master of housing trends, pricing patterns, regulations, processes, and inventory. I own the details. I am known for my real estate know-how, and I'm the first to know potential or competing listings. I am the main source for local knowledge, and I'm active in the community to create relationships and referrals. I change the game with my knowledge. Brilliant basic number 3. So we'll be discussing that. Guys, as always, thank you all so much. First time here, be sure to put new in the comments there, just so we can welcome you. And hopefully you guys can come back next Friday, 10:30 a.m. for another discussion on the brilliant basics. And even if you're not in real estate, I think there's a lot here that can be applied to many different industries. So feel free to come back, share, like, comment, and subscribe to this channel. I do appreciate you guys. In the meantime, I hope you enjoyed this week's episode of the Advantage Live. And you have found something of value. If you did, please consider subscribing. And thank you all so much. Be fearless. Keep pushing forward. Never stop being relentless in your pursuit of excellence. I'm Adam Gullett with Century 21 Advantage Realty, and I will see you guys next Friday, 10:30 Eastern Time, for another Advantage Live show. Have an amazing weekend. Thank you all.